Everyone is now being recorded. Those who are joining us virtually and those who are here physically, they're going to be recorded. Oh, guys, Brian, Isiko, Wab, you're welcome. Yeah, so the guys that are online, we also have physical attendees here at 80. So we'll be doing this together. Like we have physical people and then we have the virtual guys joining us. So welcome to the Android Study Jams. And this is Mbarara University of Science and Technology. This is our DSC. And we've had these sessions already. Today is track 2, according to the Android Study Jams. We had track 1 in November, and we decided track 2 should be in December. In track 1, we had new to programming for the people that were new here, were new to programming, people that haven't used Kotlin in the programming as a programming language. And we tried to go over through the basics of Kotlin. How can you create a function? How can you create a simple application like a birthday app? So for the guys that are just joining us for the first time, whether you're physically here or you're virtually with us, just know that we already have the first sessions where we did basics. And today we are starting over with the prior to programming track. Now, prior to programming means that you already have some knowledge about programming. Let it be C, let it be Java, let it be any other programming language, but you know the basics of programming. So through this track, we have so much we hope to achieve as people who already have programming experience. So this is the Android Study Jams brought to you by the Android team, which is Android is a technology from Google. And this is our first session, which is on top of the sessions that we already have, like we had some time back. So the learning objectives of why we have these Android Study Jams and why we choose the Kotlin programming language is basically because Kotlin language is more like the official Android programming language for Google Apps. It has, in the past sessions, we talked about where Kotlin is very good for production if you want to develop in production. It's very fast, it's very efficient, it's reliable if you want to do mobile programming, unlike other languages, the counterpart languages like Java. So we find out that Kotlin is the best option if you want to go into the Android mobile development. So the learning objectives are not so different from the ones we had in the first session. So the learning objectives are learn the essentials of the Kotlin programming language. Every language has its essentials. If you want to be an expert, if you want to gain expertise in that language, then you need to learn the essentials. So these are the learning objectives. We hope to build a variety of Android applications. This is not come, sit, listen, and then go. No, we really intend to develop hands-on and use the knowledge that we've gained through these jams and develop a variety of Android applications. And then also learn best practices for Android development. Some people just think it's a matter of coming, and then they tell you there is Kotlin, and you say, okay, so how do they write a function? This is how they write a function. Then the next day you come with an application. Seriously? No, we have what we call best practices. We have design principles. For the people that have been in our info sessions, we try to share about design principles for Google products and technologies. So that is also our learning objective in this track. And then we can discover resources as we continue to learn, because Google, the Android team has already prepared sets of resources for you and for us to utilize in learning in these jams. So what are the prerequisites now? Now that you're here physically and now you're here virtually, what are the prerequisites for you? Programming experience in an OOP language, that is object-oriented programming, like Java, C++, C#, PHP, that is all PHP. There's that. Any language that is object-oriented will help you in migrating to Kotlin if it's your first time to do Kotlin. And of course, you require a computer, because when you're going to do Android development, develop large-scale, even medium-scale applications, you may not do that on mobile. And then, of course, a clear and clean internet connection, especially for the people that are connected to us virtually. You need an internet connection. So if you have those, then you're good to go. Okay. So what's your favorite programming language and why? Guys that are virtual. The ones that are virtual, take to ask, what is your favorite programming language and why? Ezra?
Okay. Personally, like previously, the way I was talking to you guys, though I'm much into this DSC club, but the only technologies that I was borrowing from Google were Firebase, and because I'm more of web, so my favorite language is React and React Native. Let it be JavaScript, then Python and Django framework. But when it comes to using Google technologies, like why we are here, basically why we are here, I move on with the Firebase. Firebase is one of the technologies from Google. That's something I like from Google. Most actually, that's the more thing I like from Google. And the other thing is this package installer they introduced called the Yarn, which replaces NPM, is also my favorite. But when it comes only programming languages, I like React. And okay, MongoDB, Express, React, and what? Which one is the MongoDB, Express, React, and Node.js, then Python and Django. Yeah.
Okay, so thank you, Ezra. We've been able to hear your submission, your favorite programming language, and why it's your favorite programming language. Can we have a submission from the people that are physically here? What's your favorite programming language, guys? Melvin. Okay, Melvin is here with us, and she says PHP is her favorite language. Yes, she didn't give a reason, but she says it's her favorite language. So now that you have a favorite language, and I trust that maybe Kotlin is new to you because no one says it's their favorite. So this is our today's schedule. I should believe that we are within the schedule, although a little bit off. So the first one was all about presentation. Yes, we are almost done with that. So we are heading to Kotlin koans, and we shall have a short break and then continue with Kotlin koans. And then celebrate. Yeah, that's what we do with study jams. When you're done with something, even though it's a small accomplishment, you need to celebrate. Take soda. Andrew, last time we went to Rolex booth. So yeah, that's the kind of celebration that we do have in this. Edgar, I can see you're here. That's good to have you. And as usual, you're going to take us through the next session on next Friday. Okay, so I guess you get prepared. So Kotlin koans, I mean, just people saying a new word. Kotlin koans, a koan is just like a piece of code given to you to test. It's a piece of code that will deliberately give an error. So you're giving it for you to debug and test. Like if you say, this is how we will create a function in Kotlin. So I'm going to give you a piece of code that is almost related to what you're supposed to run, but I've deliberately put there a bug. So your task is to debug, your task is to apply your knowledge in Kotlin and have that code running. So basically today, we're just going to be running through code, Kotlin koans. We have a set of koans available, and we see how we can debug, and we fill them with the information, with the right pieces of code that we have. So, under our concept overview, we all basically, what I can say is what is Kotlin. Well, that's our concept today, is that Kotlin is an object-oriented programming language. It is very good in production. You can develop your applications and have them running while you're in production. It's very reliable, very fast. We have a very big community, a growing community. The fact that Kotlin is now a supported language by Google, it means there is a big community of developers that can help you. So Kotlin comes out as the best language, or our best chance in Android development. So just like I said, it's a modern object-oriented programming language and helps developers be more productive. If you're going to use other languages out there for mobile development, yes, you may have to achieve what you really wanted by the time. How long are you going to take? What's the cost of production as you do this? So compared to other languages, Kotlin is more productive for the people who want to be developers. Okay, so benefits of Kotlin. What are the benefits? If you're going to do Kotlin in your journey as an Android developer, you're going to have to be expressive, because Kotlin is precise. It's very brief. Like, you don't have to express yourself in a large piece of code. So you're going to be very expressive. You know what you want, you know what you're doing, and you're going to be concise. I mean, it's very easy. You have the fact that you have less code, that means your code is safe. It is secure. If there is an error, you basically know and you can dream where that error is, because you have a very short set of code. It is compatible with Java. Yes. We can't forget the fact that everything mobile is just Java. So it's compatible with Java. You can work with Java code, integrate with Java code, or you can bring in Java classes if you want to. And then there's structured concurrency when you use Java, Kotlin. We shall come to structured concurrency and how it works in the slides there. So, physical guys, what do you think is the other benefit of Kotlin as an OOP language, as a modern language, as a language that is more productive for you? What do you think is the benefit of you coming here and trying to learn about Kotlin? Gilbert, good to have you here. So what do you think is the benefit that you'll get out of Kotlin?
always look for how it is to reach the technical product, and we will help us connect to come to the particular take what and also at the same time it works with Java, without already with Java. Because at the same time, so I really don't have to learn different programming language. Like it's easier to learn a language with Java. Really important. So I think that's very important. The local, the field, but I come the ease in which it comes to learn the language, use it, and how fast can you learn.
Okay, sorry for the virtual guys say physical guys are not audible. Yes, sorry for that. We didn't find ways of how we can connect their voices to you guys to hear. But what Gilbert is trying to say is, compared to other programming languages, Kotlin gives you what you really want. From the cost of production, from the way you're going to produce, develop your application, it's far better. Okay, so Android development is Kotlin first. Yeah, I mean, Google says, look here, guys, here is our official Android development language. So it's Kotlin first. If you need assistance, if you need help from Google, they would prefer they give it to Kotlin, yeah, over other languages. So there is a direct support for these guys, for people that are doing Kotlin, which makes it the best language that we can have. Okay, so guys that are joining us virtually, Alvin, you're welcome. Yeah, we have the physical guys here with Andrew eating a yellow banana as I get thirsty. Anyway, so we have this piece of code. Now, trust me, if you've done any form of programming, let's say, even if it is C, which is a structured programming language, you've done Java, you've done PHP, you've done C++, or any other language that is object-oriented, somehow, somewhere, you've met the world, hello world. And from statistics, that is the only successful project that 70% of the developers ever develop and run successfully. Yeah. Most of the developers will, after hello world, say, how are you? And then they have to debug 10 times, and then they give up. But hello world is oftentimes the most successful app that you can ever develop in any language. So that's the piece of code. But then what do you guys think it does? The virtual guys, what do you think that piece of code does? You can unmute and talk to us. Can you tell us what a piece of code does?
Oh. Okay. Am I clear now? Hello? Okay. So for me, the first thing that I always do, that piece of code, that real piece of code you are seeing there, it always like introduces us to the language, and the other thing, it drives off that pressure. Maybe you're thinking, maybe you have not set up the dependencies very well, maybe you're fearing. So that very code you're seeing over there, it will always scare you off that pressure. When you see it running and it is right and it is printing on that console, that hello world, everything will just be knowing that now the rest works. Let it be in any language. In most cases, maybe even if it is HTML, you just write your hello world, then you see if the page is showing it. Even if it is what? That first code, the main function you are seeing over there, once it is called and you see it running very well, then just know everything is working. You have set up your right environment, your dependencies are working fine, everything is fine. Yeah, that's the use of that hello world code.
Okay, thank you, Ezra. I hope the guys that are physically here will hear you instead of joining just that probably isn't part of us. Anyway, so what this piece of code really does is just print to the console the hello world. Okay. Ezra, please, can you mute yourself? Okay, good. So this piece of code has what is in a way structured to say fun. And now someone may think, yeah, that's fun. Really, Kotlin is fun, but fun mainly just means a function. You're declaring a function, okay? So like just like any other OOP language or even a structured programming language, the first main function that you're going to have or that's going to run your piece of code is the main function. Okay, so if we take to the next slide, this is just what it prints on the console. Hello world, simple. And just like I said, this is always and will always be your first successful application in any programming language. What happens next is whether you're really interested in going deeper. So now, what do you notice in this piece of code? Okay, like that's what we have. But what you notice here is just what I just said, that we are declaring a function using a keyword fun, and we have a main function which always has the code that we want to run. Okay, and then we can always beef up functions in Kotlin, where we get to add in parameters, we can add in return types, okay? So if we have a function, for instance, a function called add, and we want to add A and B, we pass in A and B as parameters, explicitly showing or giving them their data types. A will be an integer, B will be an integer, and of course the function is going to deal with integers, okay? So that's why we have this here, and then we're going to return the return type, okay? So we're going to return A plus B. We're going to see this as we go to what we call the Kotlin playground, where we do these codes from. We have those core ones already, so we'll be trying to run through them and see what all that means. And then we also have another function which is quite similar, say fun, display, and then we have a return type which is called unit. It's not taking any parameter, but it's taking a return type called unit. So in these functions that we create in Kotlin, we have what we call the mutable variables and the immutable variables. Kotlin gives you the power to decide how you're going to declare your variables. If you want a mutable variable, it's fine. If you want an immutable variable, still the same. But what's the difference between a mutable variable and an immutable variable? For mutable variables, we're going to use the keyword var. That's the keyword that we use. And then this is the variable name, followed by the data type of that variable. And then we assign an integer, let's say 5, to the variable. But as a mutable variable, that means this value here that we have assigned to this variable is at any time likely to change. In running our code or in the production, the user can always change this value. We can say no, the counter is now at 7, the counter is now at 10 or 100. So that means in running your code, the value assigned to this variable will always change. That's why it is mutable. But in case of an immutable variable where we use a keyword val instead of var, is whatever we assign to an immutable variable does not change. It's permanent. Once you've run your program or once your application is in development and we assign to a name as Rebecca, then it's no way going to change. It's just that. That's why it is an immutable variable. So you have to always decide what is going to be immutable or what's going to be mutable in programming. So what is interesting about these variable declarations, just like I'd said, the first one where we have var length, we have a variable length with integer 5. If you check this and you check in our previous slide, here we try to declare, to put down the data type for our counter variable to show that it's going to take an integer. And then in this slide, we are saying var length is assigned 5. And then someone will wonder and say, okay, so what's the data type? Or why don't we even have a data type? Because the other previous languages that we know oftentimes assign, we give data types. But in Kotlin, it is totally up to you as a developer to declare a data type for your variable. It's really up to you. I mean, you just declare a variable and whatever you feed that variable, it will take. If it's an integer, good. If it's a string, that is okay. If it is a date, it's still okay. Kotlin will always know what type is being stored in a certain variable. So you don't need to explicitly declare it. The same with the immutable variable that we have as message. We don't know whether it is a string or it's an integer or it's a date, but we're just assigning welcome. And welcome, of course, is a string. So Kotlin will always know that what has been assigned to our variable message is a string, and to move on. So, and then we have a piece of code. I don't know if the physical guys here are able to see what we are projecting, but I hope those who are virtual can be able to see my screen. And Ezra was here asking, val is a way of declaring constants. Yes. Once you declare something with a val keyword, it's a variable, then what you're trying to pass over to that variable will hardly change in runtime and in production. So we have this piece of code where we are saying, like, if the score is less than 20, please print low. If ls, if it's less than 70, print medium. So these are just loops. These are loops. This is how we write loops in Kotlin. Very easy, very precise. You can see on the left side, we have the if, that if else, and then on the right side, we have when. So when is when something happens. For instance, we are saying when, and we are passing in x as a parameter, and we're saying when whatever program we are running or whatever we intend to achieve, when it is 0, just call in the function end game, and then the game will end probably. But this is just a snippet of code, and we are trying to show you how Kotlin can be so easy, how Kotlin can be written in less words but more productively. Okay, Ezra says he's never heard of when. Yeah, welcome to Kotlin land. We can have when, we can have where, we can have anything we want, because after all, this is Kotlin, and we do whatever we want. It's not Java, it's not PHP, where we are a little bit tagged to what those guys were thinking in the 1970s and still works today. So in Kotlin, you get to do whatever you want, really. Okay, so basically, if you check the left side, we have a little big chunk of code, and then when you look at the right side, we have just about 5 lines of code, essentially doing the same thing. Like this, both of them are loops. Okay, so we'll get to that in our core ones. Yep. So Andrew says, can you please elaborate more on when? Well, when is here it's a function that is just more like a loop. It's more like an how did we call it, guys? We had that, the switch statement. It's like a while or a switch statement. In here, it's working like both. When it is 0, then you switch to the function endgame. When it is 1, you switch to move. Or when it is skip, when it is 2, you go to skip. Also, it can work as a while in that if x was a variable that is taking on integers. So when it takes on 0, we come back to this while loop and we go to endgame. When x is 1, we go to move next. When x is 2, we go to skip. So in this case, it's working more like a switch statement or a while loop statement. So, well, welcome to Kotlin land. Okay, so Andrew, someone is asking here to ask you whether you really know about the statements. Have you encountered, for instance, the if statement? Have you encountered the while, the for loop? You can just type in the chat section and say yes. So we know that you're at par with such a kind of statements. Rongom, they have told you to turn off your video. Okay, so as Andrew gets back to us, hope he knows about all this. So we have what we call classes. You know, Kotlin is an object-oriented programming language. So definitely we have classes. But anyway, why do we need classes? Yeah, classes because we need inheritance, because we need what else? Guys, you did Java. What? Inheritance. What is the other? Polymorphism. Okay, so Ezra?
Yeah, I was saying polymorphism also.
Okay, polymorphism. Good. Okay, so in this snippet of code that we have, we are using a class called square, and we are passing in an immutable variable. Okay, we are passing in an immutable variable side, which is an integer. I mean, it takes on integers, and then we are saying we are passing in another inside the class. We have an instance. Okay, if you've done OOP, then you know what an instance means. Do we? Yeah, this is a class, and then we are passing in an instance. Anyone? Virtual guys, could you tell us what we are trying to do here with instances? Ezra, go on.
Yeah, an instance is how you call on the class, then you access its elements or whatever it contains in it. So you see, it's a square, it's a class and it has finished. Now S is calling that class. Now when they call it, that means S is an instance of that class. Now they have passed till 10 to replace side. Now the side equals 10. Now when you print S dot side, because now S is the instance of the class, that's the container of the whole class square. The whole class square sits in the S. We can access everything in square class through calling S or calling it from S. Yep.
Okay, that is good. Thank you, Ezra. I hope the guys who are here physically do note that. Okay, so at the end of it all, after declaring another immutable variable S and then assigning in the instance where we are putting in 10 and then printing S dot side, we get what is on the right side, which is basically a square. Yep. So that is fun. And then we have collections. Collections in Kotlin are more like lists, or let's say dictionaries, or whatever it is in Python. So in Kotlin, we are going to, for instance, declare an immutable list, let's say a number list. Let me hope the one I've admitted in is in. Okay, so what I was saying is we can have a variable called numList, let's say number list, and then we call a method called list of. Okay, so it's going to be a list of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we can always just pick from that list. You can maybe relate it to, let's say, an array, okay? We can relate it to an array, we can relate it to a list, we can relate it to a dictionary, but we don't have all that. We just have collections in Kotlin. So I just declare my own variable, whether it's going to be mutable or immutable, and then I pass in a list of integers. I can pass in a list of characters, of strings. I can pass in a list of dates, okay? I can also have a set. Let me just say I have a set of 4, 5, and 6. I can also have a map, like mapping. I can map. This comes in, is it more like a dictionary in Python? Yes, mapping. It comes like a dictionary in Python where you're saying, I'm mapping A to a string A to 10, I'm mapping a string B to 20, and I'm mapping a string B to 30. So you keep calling from that map, from that collection of your mappings. You keep calling from the collection of your list. Let's say you have a list of marks from students. So you just keep calling from that list. You don't have to, suffer. All right, so logistics. I wish the Android team had said refreshments. Like say refreshments, and then I open up a bottle of Coca-Cola. So logistics just means, okay, so now our big cake for the day, which is Kotlin koans. Like I just said before, when we were starting Kotlin koans, these are just sets of pieces of code that deliberately give you an error if you run them. The reason why we have these koans is to give you a skeleton of code that you're supposed to feed in with the right pieces of code and have a running program. So that's what we're just going to be doing today in our playground. The best thing with Kotlin is you can actually run it in your web browser, even on the phone. Yeah, if you have a very good phone, you can just go to the Kotlin playground and start, playing around with those codes. Okay, so let me see. So for today, we are going to work on the first 3 categories. When we head out to our core ones, we're just going to do a little bit of an introduction. We are going to do conversions and collections, okay? And then, yeah, this is where we're going to in a few. And this is how the playground looks like. It's more like you're already in an Android studio. Oh, so let's get started. The guys who are virtual, you're going to do this. The guys who are physical, we are going to do this together. Yeah. So let me try to share. Let me try to share another tab that has my playground, and then we see. Okay. So I guess the virtual guys, you can see my playground. It's coming in. Okay. All right. I hope you guys, Caroline, you're welcome. So this is our playground here. And okay, so we have categories here. Oh, damn. Okay, so we have our categories here, and for today we are going to do introduction, we are going to do conversions and collections. So under introductions, hello world, which is always the first thing you can do in a playground. We have this piece of code. We have this piece of code where they say fun, start, and string, then assign to do. So this piece of code, if you run it, if you do run it right now, it's an error. Yeah, it's an error. But it's a piece of code that it's a head start. They've already given you a head start. So all we are supposed to do is edit it a little bit and run it to what we want. So on our right side, they're saying, take a look at the function syntax and make the function start, run the string, okay. So our task here is just to make sure that when we run this core one here, the only thing that we can have is a string okay running. So how you guys do you think? What should we edit? Where should we edit? Where should we put this string such that when we run, we really get okay? Physical guys. Our physical guys here, please. What do you think we can do here? Ezra, you're not physical, please. Can you mute? Good, thank you. I'll let you know what these guys decide here physically. What do you think we can do to this core one? And when we click on run, it should print okay as a string. Wahab? Really? Wahab says it has to be in a main method, but remember the playground already has all this for us. I mean, let's say it already has the main function in the background there where we don't see it, but they just give us a piece of code to run. Only that, nothing else. To do. Okay, so Brian says we need to put the string okay in the parenthesis on to do. Okay. Let's say if to do is actually editable. No, it's not. We cannot edit it. So it's stuck there. Okay, so Ezra, who is virtual, says we need to implement to do. Yes, basically what we have to do what we have to implement anyway, is just, get rid of it, okay? You simply get rid of it and then pass in our string, okay. So we are passing in this string to our function start, and when we run it, let's see what happens. Passed. Really? Yeah. They're saying passed, test okay. So this was a core one, and the only thing we had to do is just pass in a string, and it will run. So hello world. That's the first core one there. So the next core one is named arguments. So now it's going to get, funny, it's going to get critical, it's going to get harder as we run. So we have this, a function join options, where we have options in a collection which is a string, and then so we are assigning options.join to string. So named arguments, they're saying default, and named arguments help to minimize the number of overloads and improve the readability of the function invocation. The library function join to string is declared with default values for parameter. So what do you think we should do here? What do you think is to do? Andrew? Yeah? Okay, so here, let me see what the online guys are saying. Okay, so you're all quiet, which is okay. It's understandable. Oh, Ezra is raising a hand. Okay, Ezra, go.
I think we need to pass as an array. Do we call it an array here? Do we call it an array? In the prefix to be something like this. I'm going to type in the chat, which is maybe prefix should be assigned to something. Then we pass something here, which will now be something like comma, okay, another quotes. We need to pass that. That's my idea.
I'm yet to see what you're saying. We should pass. Okay, so prefix. Oh,
that's
okay. So what Ezra is trying to type for us here in the chat section, please, Ezra, mute. Okay, so what Ezra is trying to show us here is we need to pass in. This is usually what we do in JSON. If you guys have worked with JSON files, there's that format of passing in strings with those squared brackets. So anyway, let's try it out and see. So what are we even trying to put in here? Damn. Okay, so let's go to do and do that. So I'm going to pass in, let's say, Andrew. We're also going to pass in, Brian. I don't know if that's what we are supposed to pass in anyway. But no. This has to join a method, so we need to put it in parentheses. And the way we are going to do this is this way. I don't know if you guys can really see this, but this run thing is here trying to make my life hard when it should be an easy life to live. Okay. That way, and let's see what is inside. So we remove this. Okay, so let's see if that runs. If it doesn't, there's an option of next go on. Very good errors. So the function this is implemented incorrectly. Okay. So what these guys just wanted was for us to pass in yes, no, maybe. Can you imagine? And then they didn't tell me. Really? Okay, so let's try to pass in yes and no, and then see if that. Huh? Okay, wait, let me do this. Still an error. Wow. Huh? Okay. Let's try that and see. I really don't know how to do these things, so. Seriously? Well, that is a very good error. So they say someone was raising a hand, really? What was that? Okay, on. Ezra, you raised your hand?
Yes. Yes.
Do you have a laptop and you share your background with us?
Yeah, but okay, let me try to see. I've not implemented, but let me try to see.
Can you share your screen?
Yeah, I'm sharing.
Okay, let me stop mine and then you can share. It's okay now, you can share.
Oh. It's not allowing. Is it? Are you seeing inside? I don't know. Okay.
I haven't seen the slides yet.
Are you seeing me now?
Yeah, we sync your playground now.
So I think, but this button also, we needed something like this. Hmm? Then they were saying there is this separator here which is a comma. So we need to, oh God, now how can I move this button? Let me first see if I can move this down. Actually now here, we pass in this. Then we remove this.
We
We
are
add
not
a
seeing
comma.
your
Are you
screen.
seeing?
Now, you're
Yes.
presenting, but we don't see the screen.
Oh.
Yes.
Mm, let me see.
Okay, we
Okay.
can see it now.
You are still here.
Yes, we do.
There, you see here in the function they gave us, we had a separator, a prefix, and a postfix. So the first thing is the prefix, which is this. I've made it this one. Yes. Then a separator here. I don't know if it also needs some quotes. I don't know. Then a postfix, which is this. Then we can get rid of this. I don't know if it will work. Let's try out that and see. Am I running the right thing? I don't know. So I'm running. Oh no. Huh. Let me first check again. I think here we can pass in the separator as a comma. Then oh, honestly, then I also can't tell now. Let me see. I need to look at the answer. Okay, this is it. I needed to pass the variables like prefix and assign this. Then this is the separator. Then postfix is assigned this. Uh-huh.
Okay, thank you, Ezra. I guess we passed that.
Yeah.
And possibly what we are going to be doing is show the answer and run, right?
No, I think we need to first run around and see because I've been trying it. Then, because that's how we can learn. Now, other than showing the answer and we run. Let me stop sharing.
All right, thank you for that. Okay, so let me share my playground again and hope this time round we can run something. Okay. So I hope that is coming. Good. So Anyway, let me just pick up this and see whether it's running, and then we go to the next core one and get done with this. So that, and then paste in this, and then run. Okay, so we also passed it anyway. Don't worry. Okay, so we are done with the named arguments. Okay, we are done with the named arguments, and now in our playground we have the default arguments. So there are lots of core ones here, and seriously, we are not going to get done with them all, but this we are just going to show you what we are supposed to be doing. Like I said before, we have three categories. We have the introduction, we have the conversions, and we have the collections. Now, in our first session, which is this, we are supposed to cover this, including the time we are going to be away until next Friday when we'll come for properties, builders, and generics. So we're just going to cover a few core ones in introduction, and your task will be to cover these conversions and collections over the week from today until the next Friday when we meet. And then we can all again go over properties, builders, and generics. Now, here's the thing. Some of you guys have been with us through the new to programming track. We had Edgar, we had Tracy, we had Ezra and Pima. You guys were with us. I think we also had Andrew. Yes, you guys were with us. But with the new programming track, the Android team does not give out certificates. And I know after all this hassle, we surely do need, certificates, something that we can attach to our CVs and show that we actually went through this hassle. So the certificates are reserved for the prior to programming track. Yes. After gaining the basics in new programming to programming track, we get the certificates from the prior to programming track. Now, if you want to get that certificate, we will have to do the tasks ahead of us. That means by Friday, each one of you should be able to share a screen where you've gone through these core ones, and because they keep track. If you see somewhere here, we have progress. So for instance, I've so far done like 2 core ones, and the progress is 5%. So if you're coming next week on Friday, if we are meeting again, and you have 0%, that means you did nothing. Or if you have 70%, that's okay, that you tried, then we can go through those core ones that really failed. Okay, we've showed you that you can actually see the answer, but even when you see the answer, sometimes you will copy it and put it in your code and still it fails. So you need to really sit down, understand these things, go through the core ones, and make sure that you have at least 90%. So by the time we meet next Friday, you should have passed through introduction, you should have passed through conversions and collections. So we spare 15 minutes to go through the core ones that failed, and then we start over with properties, builders, generics. When we are done with this, we can really build Android apps in Kotlin, because these are the basics of the codes that we use in developing mobile applications. So we have this core one here, default arguments. Who is online that feels can take us through this? You can raise your hand if you're online and you feel like you can share with us about this next core one, default arguments. Edgar, are you there? Hello, Edgar, are you there? Tracy. Okay, Edgar has raised the hand. Good. So can you unmute and possibly share with us your screen, if you can, and go through the core one? I'm going to stop sharing my screen so you can share yours and unmute.
Hey.
Hey, we can hear you. Are you able to share your screen with us and we view it here?
No, like I'm using my phone, so I may not be able to help.
Oh, so you're on phone.
Yeah, I want to pass to someone. Rachel Ezra can help.
Okay, so if I shared my screen, do you think you could tell us what we can do?
Okay.
Okay, so let me share my screen, and maybe from that you can say, let's do this, I will do it. Okay, so there we are. And please be a little bit audible. The guys here may not be able to hear you.
Pass.
Okay, so you can see my screen, and if you can do, take us through that code, tell us what we can do, it's okay. The floor is yours. Edgar?
Hey,
Well,
hello?
so chat that feels can share with
Are you
us. Looks like
getting me?
yes. Edgar, we can hear you. Is any other person who is able to share with us? You can raise a hand, and then we connect you. Gilbert? Yes. Andrew? Okay, looks like no one really wants to share about this. Guys that say they are trying, they are here in the playground trying to play around. Okay, so basically what we have here, on the right side we have similar code written in Java. Yes, on the right side we have similar code written in Java. But the task that we have is, these are just Java overloads, and what we are required to do is simply replace all those overloads with one function in Kotlin. Like you have several overloads that you have, but in Java, in Kotlin, you're supposed to just write one function. So we're supposed to change the declaration of the function for in a way that makes the code using for compile. Simple, it's just that. Like you're supposed to declare one function. Only one function in Kotlin, and then we have our code run. So here we have that trying to tell us no value passed for parameter number, no value passed for parameter to uppercase, okay? So okay, so from the function, we have the name, which is a string. We have a number, which is an integer, and then we have to uppercase, which is a Boolean. And then we are saying that if to uppercase, if the name is to uppercase, then else name, then add the number that we have. Then we have a function that uses use for with a list. Now, inside this list, we are trying to make instances where we are passing these arguments, values to our function for. So we have a string A, we have a string B, we have a number, we have string C that we are trying to pass to this function. And remember, our function is taking up name, number, and to uppercase as our parameters. So what are we supposed to really do to make sure that this code compiles based on this list that we have? Let me try and see if this really runs. Okay. Let me see what we are supposed to do here. The saying no value passed for parameter number. And here no parameter for to uppercase. And here number. Okay, so here's what I'm just going to do. I'm going to delete that piece of code. And then see what happens. Okay, just going to delete it and run, and then we see what happens to that. Okay, so here's what is expected. The default value named and default parameters. What is expected is we're passing to A42 and B1, then C42 and D2. But we're only receiving D2. So that means D2 is okay. We just have to pass in the code that we deleted. We have to make sure that it's printing in from A4 to B1 and then C42. All right, so let's have back our code. And then we see where the error is. Okay, so it prints A. It comes and picks, oh, damn. Okay, let me see this. So we have that. And then we have number, which is 42. Okay. It says, okay. And then we have to uppercase, which is false. Yeah, that's going to be to false because we are not changing anything to uppercase. Then we have for B, where we are passing in B, and we are passing in a number 1, and then also to uppercase is also going to be false because we intend to have B remaining as a lowercase. Then for C, we need to pass in a number which is going to be 42. Okay, so let's see if that really runs. All right, we passed that. Congratulations, all of you. Yes, we passed that. So this is a way we can reduce on in Java overloads. We are just using one function called use_for and passing in a list of strings, numbers, Boolean functions, which could be a very huge code if we are going to do that in Java, like you see on the right side. Okay, so Lambda, that is for Andrew. Yeah, you're going to take us through Lambda. So please share your screen and talk to us. Before that, someone can type to us on the chat section if they didn't really understand what we just did in the previous core one. If you didn't understand what we just did in the previous core one, then you can talk to us. And we see then that Andrew can come in as we also try to, Ezra is still attempting it, good. You guys should be attempting it too. I intend to finish up this presentation at 3:30 and then share information with you guys up to around 3:40, so we can call it a day. And then our task will be to go through these other core ones up to collections. Yes, we need to finish up the collections by Friday next week. Okay, Andrew, are you ready? Come on. I'm talking about Andrew Okello, Andrew, the other namesake, and don't be on pressure. We have Andrew here physically, so he's also going to share his screen and talk to us. Rachel, I hope you're picking. I hope you're trying to follow. Caroline, I hope you're following. Tracy, the same thing. I really hope you're following. Because you're going to be doing this for the next week. Your certificates are already here. Yes. Those putting on their cameras, please remember you're being recorded. If you want to see your face on YouTube, it's okay. This video will be available today evening, so I'll try and upload it on YouTube on our channel. We have a club channel, so those who missed or your friends out there who can learn from us, or you wish to share this knowledge with, can also benefit, okay? So the video will be available. Andrew, please. Just say show us and run this thing and you're done. It's that simple, you know. All right, so Andrew is going to share his screen. I'm stopping mine. The floor is yours.
Are you seeing my screen, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So I already done my thingy. What is it called? My coin, and yeah, so using a lambda. So in lambda always use Boolean expressions, whether it's true or false, and in most cases, true takes argument 1 and false takes argument 0 in most cases. But unless you have to customize it and say maybe let my true be 1 or no 2 or something other than 1 and 0. But those guys who have done digital logic and what logic programming, you know this logic gets, and they usually take 1s and 2s. So we usually pass a lambda to a function called any to check if the collection contains any even numbers. So we all know even numbers. Even numbers are divisible by 2. And I hope my screen is seen. So let me slide a bit. And yeah, so I wanted to know if my argument takes a modulus of 0. If the modulus answer is 0, and that means our function is basically divisible by 2. If it doesn't take a modulus of 0 and takes 1, it means that's an even number. We have a remainder, which is 1. So for this case, I'm trying to check if my function any is really a lambda function. So I passed this modulus symbol here. This is a symbol for modulus in programming. I hope we all know about the modulus when we're dealing with Boolean expressions, equal, maybe that subtractions and all that. So yeah, I'm trying to check if this is giving me a remainder of 0, which is a modulus. So I don't know what the IDE would give for an answer, but I have passed in my expression inside here, and that is the answer I have gotten. And I see I have passed. Who else is arguing that I've not passed? I recall Boolean expressions, we take 0 and 1, you get. That's why we have here. I'm highlighting it to show you where we are. So we have Boolean expressions. The answer will either be 0 or 1. So the remainder will always be a remainder of 0, or it will be a remainder of 1. So, and Boolean expressions are true or false. Am I lying? Oh, I'm correct. Yes. So that is me. Back to Weasley. Weasley. Naheza.
Okay. I just hope you passed.
I passed.
Okay. So Ezra, you said you need some help. If you check out here, my first line in your code that I've shared, this is what you're supposed to do to the other four parts, 3 parts remaining. Where you have 1, it's supposed to be number assigned 1. Where you have false, it's supposed to uppercase assigned to false. So just fill it out. I've just done it on the first line here. So, okay, so let me share my co-ones again, but this time around to talk about them, and we go to another slide. Then, okay, so like I've said, that means Andrew has maybe progressed to, let's say, 10% because he has done lambda. Then we have strings, data classes, and all these other co-ones for you guys to try out. until we reach collections. Yes, so we're going to be doing this throughout the week. Okay, so people on this chat, if I have to go through, Andrew's namesake, Caroline, you're not part of our WhatsApp group, or I don't know whether you guys have contacts with Andrew Okello, who is our co-lead, Jet Ezra, who is our event planning lead. Yeah, you need to get in touch with these guys such that during the process of you trying out these core ones, you can reach out to them where need be, or when things fail, or you need a particular access to information or resources, you can always reach out to those guys. If you need to join our WhatsApp group, we already have one. It's a matter of reaching out to these guys. Andrew will add you in the group. So here's what I'm going to be sharing now. Let me first finish off my slides for the core ones. Okay, I hope they're loading. All right, so this is where we were until we went to the playground, and then we ended up with let's getting started. So we've gone through pieces of the core ones, and we've seen what is needed. You already have a piece of code that is deliberately going to run with an error, and then you're supposed to debug it and pull the right code and then run. So this is the link if you really want to access anything about Android study jams, including the new to programming track that some of you missed. You can note it down, or you can always ask for the slides. I will share the slides after the session in our WhatsApp group. That's where Caroline and the other Andrew can come in and get these slides. So that's the link. It's a short link, g.co Android study jams. And you get to earn badges. You know, Google has come up with a new platform. It's called google.dev. Now forget about google.com where people search anything they want, but google.dev is specifically for developers across the world. Specifically for developers. And in this platform, let me try to see if I can share it here. Google.dev. This platform is basically for you to earn badges. Yeah, like really. Like just earn badges. It's part of your CV in the Google developer community to show that you went through Google technologies. Okay, so let me share. I'm going to share to the online guys, and they see. Okay, so if you can see my new tab, this is what I'm trying to share to you guys. Like this is my profile on google.dev. These are the badges that I've possibly earned so far, and these are my favorite. I'm a beta user. I was part of the 2020 Solution Challenge. I attended that. Of course, when you create a Google developer profile, I was part of the 2020 Dev Fest. So these are the other badges that I've had. Completed Code Labs, I've been introduced to Kotlin, and Android Study Jam participant. So this is going to be like your whole profile when using Google technologies. In fact, it's still in a beta version in that this profile, for now, it's private to you. But when the project is finally launched and someone is trying to ask you, so what is your expertise? Just simply share your profile to them and say, here are the badges, here are the things I've been to, here are the things that I've done, here are the things that I've learned. And they'll be okay. Who gets to have a Google developer profile? So you need to go and have that. Okay, so collecting, that's how we get to collect our badges actually. So when you go to this link for Android study jams, you can, everything you explore, you're adding a badge to your profile, your Google developer profile. Yeah, that's how it looks like. This is Carrie Sawyer. She's a Googler and she's trying to show us how the profile looks like. Okay. So this has been the Prairie Programming Experience track, and we just started with the Kotlin core ones. I believe in the next session, we will be doing some other things. And if you're always stuck, please ask for help. Yeah, this is a community, this is peer-to-peer learning. So if you have errors, just ask your friend, just ask us for help. If we know, then we can always come in and see what to do. So for this week, we're just doing introduction, conversions, and collections. So yeah, thank you. Really. Yeah, thank you. This is Bennett. So, but before that, let me try to share some bits of information for people that are actually new here, physically or virtually. This is going to take me a few minutes and then we call it a day. So what you see here, let me first go back. So what you see here is what we initially had in our info session when we are trying to introduce Developer Student Club, Mbarara University, to the community, to the local community, to student developers. What do we do as a community, as student developers? Is just mainly, talk about Google technologies, taking our interest in becoming pro developers, and being aware about this Google Developer Initiative. Because Google Developer Student Clubs are just a flagship brand under Google Developers. And we are not a committee, we are a community which believes in collaborations and peer-to-peer guidance. And most of our communications, especially if they are official communications, will always be passed via emails from our event platform. And this is all what you always expect from us. Learning a lot about Google technologies. We are already doing that with Android. Yeah, Android is a Google technology. We have various events. This is one of them. Andrew, please. Okay, so we have mentorship programs and follow-ups. We have rewards for the people that are active in the community. We have swags. You can get swags when they're available. And parties. Corona won't allow us, but definitely we always have parties. And then internship. For the internship part, like I said to the previous people or the previous guys, Google internships are already open, anyone can apply, but an advantage is given to someone who is already part of a Google community. So you have a chance because we can recommend you. And this is what we always expect from anyone that wants to join us. Code of conduct, your active participation, being regular and punctual, and then giving back to the community. Yes, we sit down here and enjoy resources from Google Teams, be it Android, be it Firebase. So when we get that knowledge and skills, we are supposed to give back to the community by developing solutions for our local communities. And under this Developer Student Club, we have domains. Now, domains are like technologies or departments that we have or where we need to stretch to. And we have DevOps, cloud computing. If you really want to learn about DevOps and cloud computing, we have that domain, we have those contents. And if you want to learn about full stack web development, it's also there. The content is there. This content is going to be coming in form of series, study jam, web study jams, There is a university right now in Nigeria. Yeah, same time right now for them they're doing Google Cloud study jams, and for us we are doing Android. So the content is already there. Cyber security, you want to be the cyber guy who hacks or prevents hacks. Yeah, you need to do that. AI and ML, that is artificial intelligence and machine learning. Entrepreneurship. Like I always say, if you're going to sit down and develop an application, you put it out into production, and 2 months, 6 months, 1 year, you haven't gotten a coin, please dump that application or throw away your computer because it's utterly useless. Those who want to do augmented reality or virtual reality, we have that domain. Competitive programming, yeah, you need to really search about competitive programming. It's a very interesting domain. And of course, mobile application development, which we are now doing. So these are the design principles that we use in Google. Developer community, empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Simple, 5 steps, and you have a product up and running, okay? We just hope we can really do this, go more about this when we finally launch at the university, physically. When it opens, when everyone is there, we can still go back over this information and see how we can gain from it. So the domain heads, now that we have seen domains in mobile development, then you're the guy for that domain. We actually hand it down to you. So if you want to teach Kotlin, you want to teach Flutter, that's your part. If you want to do cybersecurity and you feel like, yeah, I'm good in cybersecurity, we will hand you that domain. The content is always there. It's just a matter of delivering the content. Yes. And then always we need facilitators, people that can come in, speakers, people who are out there and they can talk to us. And then the sessions, we always have the solution challenge. The solution challenge is global. Like every developer student club in the world participates. And for 2019, we had Muni University in Uganda winning this challenge. Can you imagine? So the solution challenge, the hands-on workshop, the expert talk, tech talks, study jams like we are having right now, the boot camp, exploring machine learning, and then roadmap sessions. So the benefits, we have quite a lot of benefits. You can have certificates. You're going to have for Android study jams. You can always have letters of recommendations. Yeah, I can write those letters for you if you really need them and attach them on your CVs. Open source projects, opportunities and resources like we are having right now. Software development cycles from Google. You want to know how does Google do it? Or what inspires them? What processes do they go through? We have those cycles. Untaught insights. There are things you're not going to learn in class. There are things maybe even the world out there may not teach you, but then maybe in the Google developer community, we do have those insights. So you get to know them. And then weekly challenges. Like I just said, you're going to sit down and go through this core one. So that's your weekly challenge. When you come and you have 90%, well and good. You proceed to the next step. So this is our community page. That is always the link that you can use. I'm going to share that later on. So again, thank you.
I have a communication. Am I clear? So remember, for you to get the certificate for the jams, you must be registered under the chapter page. Before the lead can issue out those certificates to you, we have to confirm to the program managers that the right certificates were given to the right number of participants. So what you have to do is go register via the chapter page and RSVP for the session, this very session, the Android Jam. Please, a reminder, go to the chapter page and register. If your name is not on the list of those on the chapter, on the program, the Android Jam program, because I see there are 6 people only. So it means we're issuing out 6 certificates and we are over 15 people here already. So please, it's just a kind reminder that after this, go to the chapter page and register to be a member of the community, first of all. Secondly, you have to register for the event. This event is running up to next week on Friday, so you still have time to register. The system cuts you off 2 hours to the session. So if by then you have not registered to be part of the program already, you will not be able to get your certificates despite your attendance from the beginning. So endeavor to get the link, which will be shared. For those in the SQL group where Caroline and Andrew are, I will share it with you. But for those who are already the master students, you guys already must be in the group. We'll share that link with you. So if you want your certificate, just make sure you do that. If you don't give a damn about it, you just want the knowledge, but will not be shown in your CV, well and good. But it's just a reminder that you register. I hope I'm clear. Thank you.
Okay, Andrew, thank you for that. I think we are really done. So have a nice weekend and celebrate, because the last part on our schedule was celebrate. So please go ahead and celebrate, have fun. See you next weekend, next Friday for the same session. Okay, bye.